Your phone buzzes. You glance down. It says it's your bank, and it says your account has been locked due to suspicious activity. There's a link. There's a timer, and your thumb is already moving toward it before your brain has even fully woken up. That's the moment they built this whole thing around. Not a long con, not a complicated heist. Just that 1 second, your thumb in the air, your chest tight, your mind already imagining your savings gone. They know exactly what that moment feels like. And they've spent years making sure it feels even worse, so you move faster, think less, and tap. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you're there right now. Maybe you actually tapped once, and you've been carrying a quiet knot of shame about it ever since. I want to talk to that feeling first before we get into anything else, because it matters. You are not careless. You are not foolish. You are not the kind of person who falls for things. And yet these messages get people, smart people, careful people, people who have managed their money and their lives and their families for decades without making a single serious mistake. They get people like you every single day. And the reason isn't because you slipped up. The reason is that they are professionally designed to get you. I want you to understand what I mean by professionally designed, because this isn't some teenager in a basement typing fast. These operations, and they are operations, with teams, with budgets, with testing, they study human psychology the way a pharmaceutical company studies drug interactions. They know that the word locked hits harder than the word suspended. They know that a timestamp creates more panic than a vague warning. They know that the logo of your specific bank, rendered in exactly the right shade of blue, short-circuits your skepticism before it even starts. This is craft. Dark, criminal craft, but craft nonetheless. So if you felt your stomach drop at that message, if your hand moved, if you clicked and you're now hoping nothing bad happened, I need you to hear this clearly. You were not weak. You were targeted. There is a difference, and that difference is everything. My name is Frank Doyle. I spent 25 years as a federal investigator, most of that time embedded in units that tracked cyber-enabled financial fraud. That means I didn't just read about these attacks in reports. I sat across from the people who ran them. I watched them build the tools. I studied the transcripts of what they say to victims and why it works. I've seen the inside of operations that drained millions of dollars from ordinary Americans who did nothing wrong except receive a text at the wrong moment. I'm retired now. I don't work for a bank. I don't work for a software company. I'm not here to sell you anything. Not a subscription, not an app, not a monitoring service. I'm here because I watched this happen to too many people who deserved better information, and I finally decided to do something about that in the time I have left to do it. Everything I'm going to tell you today is free. It always will be. If someone is charging you to learn how to protect yourself from scams, I want you to be suspicious of that too. Now, let's talk about what's actually happening, because most of the conversation around text scams gets it wrong. People will tell you the danger is the fake message. They'll tell you to look for bad grammar, or an unfamiliar number, or an unusual request. And those things can help, but they are not the real threat. The real threat is the 3-second panic window. Here's what I mean. When that message hits your phone, your nervous system responds before your rational mind does. That is not a character flaw, that is biology. Let me make this simple. 3 rules that stop almost every scam cold. 1. Nobody legitimate ever demands gift cards, wire transfers, or crypto. 2. Nobody real ever rushes you to act this very second. 3. If you didn't start the contact, never hand over a password, a number, or a payment. That's it. Memorize those 3, and you've blocked the vast majority of cons out there. I've expanded all of it into one free, plain language guide covering every scam you might meet. Scan the QR code on your screen or tap the link below. 3 rules, 5 minutes, a lifetime of protection. Share it with someone who needs it. The feeling of financial threat triggers the same alarm response as physical danger. Your heart rate goes up, your focus narrows, and the part of your brain that slows down to check, to verify, to question. It gets sidelined by the part of your brain that just wants to fix the problem right now. The scammers know this. They didn't stumble onto it. They engineered for it. The urgency in the message, immediate action required. Your account will be permanently closed. Respond within 24 hours. That language isn't there to inform you. It's there to keep you in that panic window long enough to tap. Because once you tap, you're on their ground, and everything gets much harder. And here's the part that makes me genuinely angry, and I want you to feel this with me. The banks know this is happening. The platforms that carry these messages know it's happening. And the systems that are supposed to protect you, they are not set up to make this easy to fight. Banks will often tell you that if you voluntarily provided your credentials, even under false pretenses, even under manufactured panic, the liability is yours. The fine print, the terms you clicked through years ago, the legal language buried in a disclosure document, it can be used to leave you holding the loss. That is not an accident. That is a system that has not been designed with you in mind. So I need you to understand. The responsibility for your protection has been quietly shifted onto your shoulders, which means your knowledge, right now, in this moment, is your actual defense. Let me walk you through exactly how this attack works, from the first buzz to the empty account. Because when you see the full picture, you cannot be fooled the same way twice. Step 1. They send the text. It looks like it's from your bank. It might even show up in the same message thread as real texts from your bank. That's a trick called SMS spoofing, and yes, it's real. The message says something is wrong, urgency, a link. Step 2. You tap the link. You land on a page that looks exactly like your bank's website, and I mean exactly. The logo, the font, the color, the layout, the copyright notice at the bottom, the little padlock icon in your browser that people think means safe. None of that means what people think it means. The padlock just means the connection is encrypted. It says nothing about who owns the site. A scammer can have a padlock too. Step 3. You enter your username and password. You're thinking you're logging in to fix the problem. What you're actually doing is handing your credentials directly to someone sitting at a computer, often in another country, who is now logging into the real version of your bank with your real information. Step 4. They move money. Transfers to accounts they control. Sometimes it's done in seconds. Sometimes they take a day or two to avoid triggering alerts, but the outcome is the same. The money moves. And once it moves, especially to cryptocurrency accounts or wire transfers, recovering it is extraordinarily difficult. That entire sequence, from the text arriving to the money leaving, can happen in under an hour, sometimes in under 10 minutes. And at no point did they need to break any sophisticated encryption or hack any secure system. All they needed was your panic, a fake page, and one tap. Now, here is what you actually do. And I want to be honest with you. I'm going to mention the channel once, and I'll keep it brief, because the most important thing I can do for you is give you the tools, not the pitch. If you find this useful, subscribe to Scam Protector. There's more in this series that can genuinely help you, but right now, let's get you protected. Let me say something nobody says out loud. Falling for a scam doesn't make you foolish. It makes you human. These cons are engineered to bypass good judgment. That's their whole job. The only real mistake is staying silent out of embarrassment, because silence is exactly what these criminals need to keep going. So let's take their power away, together. I've gathered every major scam, the calls, the emails, the fake pop-ups, the friendly strangers, into one free guide. No lectures, no shame, just what to look for. Scan the code or click the link below. Knowledge isn't weakness, it's armor. And today, you put it on. The defense has 2 steps, and they take less than 10 seconds. I call them the 2 tells, not because you're looking for signs in the message, but because you're changing what you do with your hands the moment the message arrives. Tell number 1. Never tap the link. Ever. I don't care how real it looks. I don't care if it has your name on it. I don't care if you've been a customer of that bank for 30 years. and the text looks identical to every other text they've ever sent you. You do not tap the link in an alert text. Full stop. That rule never breaks. Tell number 2. You go directly to the source. Not through the text. Directly. Open your banking app, the one you already have installed on your phone, and log in from there. Or type your bank's web address directly into your browser, the way you always have, from memory or from a bookmarked page you set up yourself. If there's a real problem with your account, you will see it there. If there's nothing there, the text was fake. Simple. And if you want to go one step further, call the number on the back of your debit or credit card. Not a number in the text. Not a number you find by searching online. The number printed on the physical card in your wallet. That number goes to a real human being at your real bank, and they can tell you in 30 seconds whether your account has any issue at all. Do those 3 things, in that order, and you cannot be beaten by this attack. Not today. Not ever. You close the panic window before they can use it. Now, I want to be straight with you about something because I'd rather you trust me than think I'm overselling what I know. Some of these fake pages are perfect, and I mean genuinely, technically perfect. I've seen them. I've had them shown to me by people who built them in exchange for reduced sentences, explaining exactly how they work. There are moments, and I will not pretend otherwise, where I could not look at a fake login page and tell you with certainty that it wasn't real. Visual inspection alone is not enough, not anymore. That's exactly why the rule isn't look carefully. The rule is never go through the link at all. Because if the defense requires you to be perfect at spotting a perfect fake, it will eventually fail. But if the defense is a habit, close the message, open the app, verify independently. That habit works even when the fake is flawless. The rule doesn't break because it doesn't require you to judge what you cannot always judge. Here is what I want you to take from everything you just heard. In one line you can actually remember. Panic is the product they're selling. Slow down, and they have nothing. Here is your one action for this week. Tonight or tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, find the phone number on the back of one of your bank cards, just one, and save it as a contact in your phone. Label it something simple like bank, real number. That's it. That one step means that the next time a suspicious text comes in, you have the right number already in your hand, ready to use. You don't have to search. You don't have to guess. You just call. If you've had a close call with one of these texts, if something like this has happened to you or to someone you love, I want to hear about it. Put it in the comments. Not because I'm looking for dramatic stories, but because when one person shares what nearly got them, it protects someone else who reads it. That's how this community works. That is the whole point. Next time, we're going to talk about the phone call version of this attack, the one where a real human voice tells you your account is compromised and walks you through every step toward handing over your money while you think you're being helped. It is harder to catch than the text, and it is happening more than ever. Don't miss it.